The licensees that I chose, the first one I got, Dave Larson, Shower Concepts out of Denver, Colorado. He came to my shop and my store with another mutual tile friend that we have in the industry. And at first he just wanted to set up another tile store and sell actual products. He was a mud guy, and he let everybody know that he does mud and foam is not a part of his thing, but he wants to sell tile tools. After spending some time in our shop and then flying back to Denver, Dave realized, that he could see, at least with his own business, the use of the foam products, from the shower floors to benches and curbs. So instead of doing a tile store, he actually decided that he wanted to join the team of RodKat and actually be a licensee. So Dave was the first guy that I started with, and with him being a custom tile setter and knowing mud, he had a lot of swagger, respect in the industry of, he can definitely, he is a tradesman and a craftsman at what he does. And just doing the foam was a way of just evolving the industry, making it so jobs can get done faster, maybe with a little bit less money and labor.
So I met RodKat through some mutual friends in the tile industry. I came up to become a distributor, and he was starting a small distributorship. So the interesting thing about it was I had no interest in foam. I met him, and it was presented to me that this is a really good idea, and I thought to myself, I'm a mud guy. There's no way I'm ever going to do this. And I listened to Rod for about 15 minutes, went home, and the light bulb went off, and I was like, this is really a good idea.
So Dave was number one, and that got me off to a good start as far as knowing that the vision that I had as far as having licensees and people in other areas to actually do my vision of, manufacturing custom foam products, especially shower trays, worked out really good. So Dave was number one. Number two was our guy Wes Hawthorne out of North Carolina. Wes was one of my biggest customers, and he was very detailed, and he was used to doing custom foam shower trays from another company that actually had discontinued or quit making foam products. And he had heard of me from another person back in North Carolina about custom trays. And as Wes ordered more and more, one day I just said to him, would you consider being a licensee? You seem like you know what's going on. You're connected to the tile industry. And Wes jumped on board, and he's East Coast foam.
How I got started with Rod was I needed a foam source, started using them, ended up being one of his good customers, and just all the great back and forth, I decided to fly out to Utah and meet with him, and everything just rolled from there.
And so having Wes on, now I had Dave and Wes, both of us, or all three of us, were just really advancing how we were doing things, just because we were sharing so much best practices, and to see the growth that way. So that was super good. I also knew here in Utah, because of how busy we were here, that I could actually have a few other, licensees just in Utah, and it wouldn't affect me, with my local work. There's a tile guy that I knew from southern Utah, a guy named Brent Neal Tile, who's basically a super good tile installer, a legend, and he has a son that has basically taken over, and he was really, really driven, and he also ordered my products, and he'd use them more for really cool like pop-outs for walls that had, a full wall niche going along the back wall. He did my benches, and he'd humor me a little bit here and there and do a foam tray, as he could. He's in a different situation with the way construction is done in his area. But, he got more and more interested in it. And as I was sending him orders, again, it just seemed like that would be a perfect person, again, because of his knowledge in mud and floating and sloping and these custom jobs. So, I chose Nick and asked him to come aboard.
With starting with Rod, I have been approached by Rod to use his products about 3 or 4 times, and I was a quick turnover like most tile guys with the benches and some other fun custom architectural things that he made for me over the last 6 or so years in St. George. And I never, like a lot of guys, I never could quite get around giving up my floating on shower pans. And when he gave me the opportunity, I just was at the right place, and it was the right person. I knew everybody liked Rod, and I knew that I didn't have to worry about what he was putting into my hands and offering me, and I know that what he gave me, I'm not afraid to offer to other people. And those were the big factors that really got me jumping right in. And as soon as he talked to me, I've set about a dozen of his pans and been making them ever since.
Kind of the bonus from Nick was his wife Sophia, who has 8 arms and can, she knows so much with Instagram, Facebook marketing. So, with Nick, we were able to also approach and ask Sophia to be a marketing director with us. And that was super good. So now, we call the 4 of us together the core 4, and we're just all working together, and it's just a whole bunch of friends and camaraderie, and we're just really enjoying this.